Hi guys, and welcome to Winsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to spend today with me. Today we have a shorter project, but it's one that I'm really excited about. I've been to a couple garden centers recently and I found a couple treasures that just really had to come home with me. I have a spot that I knew I needed one of these for, and then I found two that I really liked, so I've got another one in mind, and I thought I would have you guys join me today as we add some clematis to my yard. I already have two clematis that I'll point out to you as we go. I can't quite remember the names of them. They're something that I added a couple years ago. They actually look very similar, but they haven't yet opened for this year. And I was thinking, I really wanted to add some. Last year I actually bought on my birthday a clematis that it was a birthday gift to myself that I added to the front yard. I went and got like a whole obelisk type thing for it to go on and everything, and it died, did not come back. So I was on the lookout for another one, and I found two. The first one that I'm going to be planting, which as you can see has some really lovely buds on it, Perrin's Pride Clematis. It is a garden gem variety. I've never actually grown a garden gem, but this one doesn't actually have an open bloom, but there were a couple there that did, and it is this beautiful, like deep purpley color clematis, and it had like a stripe of red, like maroon in the middle, that I just thought that was so pretty. And what I really like about it is this is a zone 4 through 11, so it's very hardy. I'm hoping this definitely survives the winter. And it's a part shade, grows 6 to 10 feet tall and about 1 to 3 feet wide. And this is perfect for the space in my front yard to go on the obelisk that I bought for the previous clematis that didn't make it. And this is a pruning group 2 because it blooms twice. Once early spring on old wood, and then once later in the summer on new wood, which that's really my favorite variety of clematis. Clematis come in 3 pruning groups, similar to hydrangeas in a sense. One that blooms only on old wood, so if you do prune those, you want to be very careful about it and kind of prune it right after it's done blooming, if you prune it at all, so that it has time to put on new growth, which sets buds for the next year. The second group is this one, where I said where it blooms on old wood and then it also blooms on new wood. I honestly don't prune these like ever unless something dies. Even then I kind of leave it a little bit unless it looks awful, because it provides another structure for new shoots to kind of scramble up. The third one are ones that you kind of cut back each year because they only bloom on new wood, and it doesn't matter. So usually all the old stuff dies. You can prune it back to about a foot, 18 inches. Some people go as low as 6 inches off the ground. This is the one that's going to go in my front yard, the Perrin's Pride Clematis. One more time. Isn't that just so pretty? The second clematis that I've got is actually one from Donahue's Clematis. I actually bought this up in Ludington when I was supposed to be buying some annuals for cottage pots, but I saw it and I thought that had to come home. It is a really fluffy red clematis. Now this one, I think it got a little cold damaged earlier in the season because I don't see any blooms on it, but it also is supposed to be this pruning group 2, so I'm hoping we give it a really great start and we may yet see a couple of blooms this year. It's a little bit on the smaller side. It grows 6 to 7 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet wide. It's also hardy down to a zone 4, so again, I'm really hoping that it does well. This one, I was thinking about where it was going to go because I honestly bought this one first to go on the obelisk, and then I saw this Perrin one when I was picking up some other things at a different nursery and just had to have it, and I wanted it in that space because the color story will work just a little bit better. Has anyone else have this experience? I mean, well, you can see I've already started building a plant hoard. Yes, those are some roses. I do this. I see something, I'm like, I gotta squeeze it in somehow, and I don't have a ton of space. So usually it involves moving something that I don't love as much out the way. That's exactly what's gonna happen with this rose, but that's for another video. Charmaine Clematis might actually go on the gate behind me. Well, not the gate that opens, but right, I can't quite see it, but right around there, and I'll just let it kind of scramble over it. Add some beautiful color to the yard. Clematis is just, they're so pretty. Every time I see them in full bloom, I think, gosh, I need to add more. I'm so excited that today I get to add 2. Because I mentioned it, I thought I'd give you a closer look at it. Look at this rose. Oh, so pretty. It is a David Austin Munstead wood shrub rose. It gets about 3.5 by 2.5 feet tall and wide. And oh my gosh. Oh, it smells so good. One of these is actually going to the cottage to live in a pot up on the deck, and the other one I'm gonna find a spot for here. They were 20% off, and all shrub roses were, so you know, I kind of took a peek because that's what you do when you're at a garden center. You got to look at everything. And then I saw the sale and I thought, ooh, they're all in bloom. Let's smell all the roses. And then I found that they had a couple David Austin roses left that look so well. And this is one of them. It's beautiful and it smells fantastic. So obviously the 2 that they had to come home with me. It's only reasonable, right? Anyway, that's for a different video. Today, this is actually the area that I'm thinking that Charmaine is going to go. I think I would like this area, so I'm going to plant it on the other side of the fence so the dogs who do get in this area from time to time won't mess with its root ball. But it does get a good chunk of sun. So Clematis like to have their tops in the sun and then their feet in the shade, which is exactly what this is going to offer. This is the back side of where it's going to go, and this is the front side. Now, it's a tight area, I will admit that. I've got 2 troughs here. Ignore my bolting radish and lettuce and spinach that need to be taken out. That'll be happening quite soon. This is actually the site of a future project, but I wanted it in here to have spacing. And this bed is jam-packed, but you know what? That's the way I like it, including this. Look at this. Oh, this peony also smells amazing. So good. So many good smelling things. The lilac are in bloom too. It's just a great time to smell things in the garden right now. I used to have a lot of lupins, and you can see that they self-seeded themselves over here, and there's one right there that I might pop over because I'm thinking that this right here will be a great spot for it. Now, it is a little tight, but I'm going to train it up to this. I think next year I'm going to bite a bullet and invest it in a hose link because this is a hot mess and it'll be harder with this project once it's in. So thinking hose link here eventually. But this Clematis, plant it there, and then it can kind of climb up and have this whole fence panel to scramble over, and I'll be able to enjoy it from this side and that side. So this iron fence, which looks a little rough, but what you gonna do, is original to the house, and then I had to come in and add this like temporary grid fence because even though it doesn't look that big, Maisie can actually squeeze her skinny self through there. So to make this whole yard kind of safe for them, I added that, and I think this is going to be great for the Clematis to provide some extra things to cling to. The other thing I'm going to do is, as you can see, that's it right there, it's got a ladder. I'm going to leave the ladder on. I'm actually going to tilt it to this so that it can kind of use it as a structure to get up and then over. Eventually that'll break down, and that's okay. I've found that sometimes you can actually do more damage to a Clematis trying to get it off the ladder than the harm it will be in just leaving it on. I'll see if I can tease a couple bits out to kind of get it spreading and help it on its journey, but by and large, I'm okay if it stays there. So let me find a spot for you guys to cling to that you can see, which might be a touch difficult because it's, you know, a little tight. And then we'll get this in the ground and show you what it looks like. This area definitely needed some color, and I'm so excited to add it. Bed is pretty good about interest because we've got some phlox, we've got some poppies that are going to go. You have catch flies. This whole area is a river of grape hyacinth in the spring. We've got a rose that, if I can get rid of the stupid sawfly larva, it's a Bathsheba David Austin rose, which will be blooming like an orangey cream apricot pink. So pretty all year. We got the iris that just finished. We've got a sedum, which is a nice autumn interest, and we do have lupins when they do bloom, and this obviously great peony. This is, I believe, a daisy made daisy. I can't quite remember. I planted it a couple years ago, got on clearance, so it provides a nice shot of color in the summer, but it could just use a little bit something more with some more color, and I think this is just the ticket. I'm going to have to be a little bit careful as I get in there. I'm lucky because I have a power planter from my dad that I'm borrowing right now, which has made planting like dahlias and a ton of other stuff so much easier. And I'm so glad that my mom gave it to him for his birthday this year, so conveniently timed. He has a couple projects he's going to use it for, and it was one of those things that once he uses it, I think he's going to love it and probably not do a ton else without it. But for now, I'm using it and I'm loving it, and I don't need to buy one because I can just borrow it from them, which is, you know, fantastic. Anyway, I'm gonna get the power planter out, scooch the mulch out of the way, dig my hole, add some biotone starter fertilizer, and then get the clematis in. Okay, I got it in. When I took the ladder off of the pot and got it in, it kind of bent a little more than I would have liked. The ladder wasn't in the dirt really at all. It seemed to be okay. I didn't like break anything. I hope that if I baby this a little bit, it'll just take off well. Let me show you what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. I think it's going to be fine. That ladder in some ways is perfect because it'll give it a little way up onto the grid. You can see that I was able to get a couple of tendrils off and just start training them. It's a little cramped right now, but I am very confident this is going to lose its flowers, and I'll probably cut up a couple of these to give it a little bit more space, this peony that is. And I think what it'll do is kind of fill into this area as well, and it can just scramble over this. I'll give it a little extra training, but I think it's going to do so well. I'm really excited to see that kind of pop of red all over this. One clematis down, one to go. Let me show you where the Perrin's Pride is going to be going. It's on a structure you probably have seen in a couple of tours and wondered what's on it. And the answer is nothing until now. Okay, I don't know if you can hear this weird thing. There's some weird noise going on right now, but this structure is actually where it's going to go. I've actually already dug a hole, and I think it'll provide a really nice vertical interest in here, and the color of the blooms will kind of match the Japanese maple and add a beautiful kind of pop of color that draws your eye. I'm excited. Like that, it is planted too. It is really kind of tied together, so I wasn't able to separate it. But I think give it time and the different tendrils will find their way up and over. I think that is actually going to do it for me today. I'm really glad that we got those 2 clematis in the ground. I'm so excited to see what they do this year and hopefully see a couple blooms that I can share with you on an upcoming garden tour. There's still a lot left to do. You probably noticed a lot of plants in the plant horde that need to get out in the landscape. I'm hoping to get a lot of that done, so there should be a good number of videos coming up sharing the process with you. Until then, I'm going to sit and enjoy a cup of tea, plan my next move, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.